now a son of embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of assault. A lawsuit filed in LA Superior Court on Thursday accuses Christian King Combs of assaulting and possibly drugging a woman in December 2022.
It looks like Diddy isn't the only Combs making headlines for all the wrong reasons, because Christian might have inherited his father's less than desirable traits. It turns out that blood really is thicker than water, because just like Diddy, Christian Combs, who is just 26 years old, has faced a assault lawsuit as well, and it's been making some serious waves. In the 31-page lawsuit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court by Grace O'Marquez, a 25-year-old who was working as a steward serving drinks and meals on a yacht chartered by Diddy in December 2022, accused Christian of drugging, sexual harassment, and assault.
Against Sean Diddy Combs, on behalf of his client, a former Diddy producer named Rodney Jones, would likely be filing another suit against Combs' son, Christian.
She had been working on that yacht since July and did not have previous issues with other clients. This wasn't some quiet boat ride either. Grace described a scene that was super weird, with celebrities and suspected workers participating in a lot of questionable behavior, including drugs. The alleged assault happened in the same $1 million a week yacht that was used to host Diddy's lavish 2023 New Year's Eve party, where celebrities like Lil Baby, Meek Mill, Young Miami and Fabulous were in attendance. It all started when Christian Combs got on the yacht on the 28th of December because he wanted to record some music with Lil Rod, who was Diddy's producer at that time. There was a makeshift studio in the yacht with Lil Rod on standby. Grace wrote in the court documents that she suspected that he was already heavily intoxicated, but yet he started ordering that tequila shots be poured from a bottle of alcohol he may have brought. As she was the only serving steward at the time, it was her job to bring him shots in the studio, and that was when Christian began paying unwanted attention to her. Things escalated quickly when he pressured her to take a drink. However, she was hesitant because she had seen other women passing out, falling over themselves, or panicking after taking the drinks, so she suspected it was spiked. Grace eventually took one shot so that he would leave her alone, but that's when things took a drastic turn. He asked her to sit with him, and after she refused, Christian's behavior became aggressive. Grace tried to reason with him to no avail.
O'Marquez alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas. O'Marquez reportedly told Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that."
According to the document, he allegedly groped her and tried to kiss her neck, face, and hands. He also touched her lady parts. While all this was happening, Lil Rod Jones, who has now filed his own suit against Sean Combs, was instructed by Christian to record everything at the time. Because the effects of the tequila had set in, she could not recall what happened next, but she finally left the studio.
The victim in the case has produced audio recordings that allegedly shows forcing himself upon her and that he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Grace attempted to resume her duties that night, but Christian called for her after some time and asked her to find somewhere for him to sleep. Since everywhere was booked, the only place she could suggest was the cinema, so she took him there. Because it was a secluded area, he probably thought he could convince her to indulge in sexual acts. According to Grace, Christian took off his clothes and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him in the yacht cinema. She began fighting him, and thankfully someone else entered the cinema, so she was able to slip out. And while you might think she'd get some support from the yacht's crew, she claimed that the captain didn't believe her and failed to investigate her complaint. You would think that Christian would maybe feel a little guilty or try for an out-of-court settlement with Grace, but that's far from what happened. After being sued, he made a post showing his fun times in a bowling alley and completely ignored the allegations.
Christian King Combs appearing unbothered less than a week after being sued for sexual assault. Diddy's 26-year-old son sharing this video montage on Instagram.
His lawyer, Aaron Dyer, said in a statement to CNN that they believe the lawsuit contains manufactured lies and irrelevant facts, and says he will seek to dismiss the outrageous claim. Grace's lawsuit not only accuses Christian of assault, but also takes aim at Diddy for aiding and abetting by providing the environment where this all went down. She alleged that Diddy turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment where unlawful drug use and work was encouraged. It wasn't what she signed up for, so it makes sense that Diddy was dragged into the lawsuit. Given that Diddy's homes in both Miami and Los Angeles were raided as part of a Homeland Security investigation into allegations of trafficking, and let's not forget drug distribution, it's safe to assume that Diddy may have the habit of encouraging the use of drugs. Because of this case, Grace, who had planned to work the entirety of her career in hospitality and the yachting industry, said that she could not do so anymore due to the trauma of her experience. What do you think about these charges? There are a lot of details that sound true, but the Combs family are denying everything. Do you think Christian did everything Grace alleges he did? Let us know in the comments.
Do this, shout out to all the fathers. I know I'm putting food in the way.
It seems like money can't buy dance skills because Christian inherited Diddy's dancing skills for sure. Social media hasn't been kind to Christian, especially with the accusations coming on the heels of his father's ongoing controversies. People believe that the two make quite the pair and would be buddies in jail. It's definitely not the best look for the Combs empire for two family members to be hit with assault charges. Because these charges were only filed in April, there has not been much progress, but as it unfolds, we will be watching closely. When it comes to Diddy's case, all of his kids, including Christian, have all been supporting their dad. We're talking tearful phone calls from the kids to Diddy while he was locked up, pleading with him to stay strong. Diddy's kids were reportedly devastated. Recently, the whole Combs clan were spotted at New York City's federal court to rally around their father for one of his hearings. Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, was also photographed with her grandkids. While this looks like a united front, Christian Combs posted on himself partying with his girlfriend on his Instagram, even with his father facing serious charges. Instead of laying low and playing the supportive son, this man's out here throwing lavish parties, getting high, and spending cash like the feds aren't breathing down the family's neck. Seriously, the audacity is unreal. Imagine not being able to simply play being a supportive son 2 days after appearing in court to support your father. It's like Christian is determined to turn up to the max while daddy's locked up. Now, let's be real. People were initially backing Christian and his brother when this whole mess started. Back when Homeland Security came knocking on Diddy's door, raided the family homes, and even cuffed Christian and his brother, Justin.
Being detained by authorities, reportedly Diddy's two sons who were questioned and released. Reporting live here in Holmby Hills.
Get this, footage shows Christian and Justin Combs in handcuffs during the raid.
Yes, so the Diddy thing, started in 2023, and it's now rolled over to 2024, and I feel like it just keeps getting worse.
The internet had their back, saying just because Diddy's allegedly wild doesn't mean the kids are guilty. People felt sad for the kids, and if things weren't dramatic enough, in steps Justin's mother, Misa Hilton, with her own social media campaign. Let me tell you, sis was not having it. Misa took to Instagram to vent about what she called the mistreatment of her children during Justin's arrest. She didn't hold back, calling out the authorities for what she saw as bias and unfair treatment towards her son during his arrest. At one point, she even hinted that the system was set up to tear down successful black families. But how the tables have turned. Now it seems like Christian is proving to be his father's son. Objectifying women? Check. Ignoring serious accusations? Check. Acting like nothing's wrong? You bet. Like father, like son, right? Christian's doing the absolute most to act unbothered. But it's not a cool look when there's an assault case with his name on it. With all of this happening, the heat keeps getting turned up in another corner. Remember the producer Lil Rod, who Christian asked to make a video when he allegedly assaulted Grace? He is suing Diddy.
I won't be that guy 20, 30 years from now looking back saying, I wish I'd done this. I'm going to do this now. Doing this situation is not easy. Taking Puff to court, suing him is not easy.
According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, Diddy wasn't just living that high life party boy vibe we all thought. Oh no, he was allegedly the kingpin of a full-blown illegal operation that included gun trafficking, drug trafficking, and wait for it, trafficking. And that's just the beginning. Lil Rod went as far as to accuse Diddy of assaulting him and straight up back at Cassie's claims that Diddy forced people into some truly shady situations. Let that sink in. But hold up, it doesn't end there. Lil Rod dropped another bombshell. He claims there are hundreds of hours of audio and video recordings capturing Diddy's illegal behavior. It turns out that Christian and Diddy may both love to record their illegal activities as some sort of keepsake. So what does that mean? Well, remember back in March 2024 when the feds raided Diddy's places in Los Angeles and Miami? At the time, we were all just speculating that they got some digital evidence. Now it looks like Lil Rod's claims lined up with what the investigators were after. Also, the prosecutors have admitted that they have uncovered a lot of digital evidence that could turn this case over. According to reports, investigators have been combing through what's being described as a treasure trove of video recordings, audio files, and other electronic materials seized from devices taken from Diddy's property. You won't believe that these devices contained over 90 terabytes. Which is basically the digital equivalent of discovering a ton of potential evidence. Federal prosecutors have made it clear that this evidence is still under review, and they haven't ruled out the possibility of more charges being added as they work their way through this massive cache. What's really delaying the extraction is that some of the technology used to record these videos was too old, and others too advanced. This means that Diddy has been making these videos for years, and it seems like there are many victims lined up to tell their stories.
Thousands of survivors of abuse, and never, ever in a 10-day period have we seen over 3,000 people come forward where we've confirmed and decided to investigate and represent 120 people.
Imagine having to filter through 3,000 victims and settle at 120 because their cases were the strongest. These victims aren't just numbers, they're bringing real-life accounts that might just change the game in court. Prosecutors are putting on their detective hats to make sure they connect all the dots. With so many voices crying out for justice, it's clear they mean business, and it'll take a miracle for him to get out of this. Now, let's talk about what's shaking things up in this scandal. New legal filings have taken things to a whole new level, claiming that baby oil found in Diddy's residence was laced with Rohypnol or GHB, commonly known as date rape.
Isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house?
It is kind of suspicious that Homeland Security seized all of the baby oil, and with the family's history of drug use, it is not a stretch to assume that they would go the extra mile to incapacitate victims. It's one thing to be accused of misconduct, but it's a whole different level when drugs like Rohypnol are involved. As the drama unfolds, it's hard to ignore the eerie similarities between Diddy and his son Christian, both caught in a web of chaos and controversy. With Christian now facing serious allegations of his own, it raises some eyebrow-raising questions about the Combs family and their seemingly fun lifestyles. Are these just coincidences, or is there a deeper, more troubling pattern at play? The charges against both father and son paint a picture of a disturbing family where anything goes. So what do you think about these accusations? Are Christian's actions just a reflection of his father's influence, or is he to blame? And as the legal battles heat up, will the Combs family be able to weather the storm together, or is this just the beginning of a much bigger scandal? Share your thoughts in the comments below.